Do it that way. All right, guys. Well, good morning again, and welcome to 10 ways to get my Zoom thing out of the way. 10 ways to record your lessons for online course creation. Now, when we think about course creation, obviously we're thinking about a series of lessons. Like you can actually just do a course that's literally like this. This is kind of a lesson. It is a workshop. It's a webinar. An online seminar is a webinar. So it's really mostly me talking and you guys asking questions. Uh, Beyond that, I would say an online workshop I would characterize as something where I give you templates and activities to complete as a bit more of a push. And then an online course I would characterize as a sequence or series or collection of these kinds of lessons. And because you follow a course of theory or a course of practice. So what I'm going to go through today is, and obviously with this series, I'm doing 4 in a row, and this is the 4th one. We did cover in the beginning sort of how to map an online course, which is like take your expertise and structure it according to, okay, if their starting point is here, how do I get them practically over there? Like, what do I need to tell them? What do I need to show them? What do I need to get them to practice and try? That forms the basis of your lesson sequence. Then we looked at, I think it was, what did we do after that? There was one that we compared online platforms. I think that was the last one we did. And then apparently in there we had another one. I've forgotten what it was. So it was very, very important. But anyway, so this one was kind of more of a breakdown because I know through this we've had some conversations around AI and AI tools. So absolutely, you can make AI lessons straight off the bat. So so you can look at an AI course creator. And what I found with that, and what I'll go through today, we might even have if I can get a little demo, like a freebie demo, I'll show you. But what I'm finding with the AI course creators, I think that was the 4th topic actually, was that everything I tried was very much vanilla, very generic, and even you compare it to like ebook writers. Like I tried this Program Designer, which kind of is a parallel to the online AI course creator, where it sort of scrapes all the information from its big data brain and goes, okay, if you're going to do a little course on how to set up a business or how to do pattern making or whatever, it kind of just scrapes all the vanilla stuff off the internet and then goes, okay, this is the logical sequence you should make. And then the ebook versions I found just kind of compilated it into this nonsensical information overload. Like it's very content driven. And I found the AI course creators are the same. They're very content driven. They're not really teaching driven. So even though they have all the elements that you might like in terms of some sort of visual and a lot of text and a sequence of learn this, then that, then this, then that, um, the AI course creators are very lacking in really the teaching methodology and also the enrichment that comes from your own experience and um, philosophies on whatever you're teaching. That's missing completely because it is kind of like I said, it's a catch-all. So while we might have a look at a couple of AI content creators just for like how to speed up this process, we did do a whole webinar on it, and today it's more about recording. So if you have your content, if you have your lesson planned out, then how do you capture that in the best way possible, and what's that for? All right. So one of the things I wanted to go through today is just, first of all, I think most of you know me already by now. My name is Ronwyn. Again, I apologize that we are starting late today. I don't do it very often. It is mostly me and my business, and all this stuff comes from my brain. So, and my efforts. There's no fledgling on the side making up my slides. So it's all my stuff. So if I do get caught up because I do run the business, sometimes I do get a bit, with my hands caught up. So I apologize. But we're going to go through today all the things that I wanted to show you. And if, like I said in the beginning, if you do find that there's a missing piece here, or that I didn't mention one that you thought I would, or something else, first of all, you can bring it up through the session or in question time at the end if you think I missed one. But also, you know, as always, you can reach out to me at info@businessintraining.com.au, and absolutely we can go through that, okay? So let's start with something. We're going to start with some familiar territory just for people who haven't seen anything else and have just arrived at today. First of all, the thing about online courses is you have to figure out whether you're going to do like a really active delivery or really passive delivery, because that will affect the type of lesson you are going to create and what, you know, how it's going to be delivered, yes? So for example, if you're running a very active course, what that means is you're going to have some live components. So just like I'm really here today, really apologizing for being a few minutes late because this is a real live delivery, you know, then that requires you to actually have the time to do it, and it requires you to kind of be managing that really well. So I will speak openly. Like I've wanted to do group coaching probably for about a year, and every time I go to release group coaching, which is a weekly commitment, not just for all of you, but for me as well, my timetable keeps getting like put around the washing machine again. I think, oh, no, I can't do it at that time. Okay, I'll come back to it later. And so committing to a live delivery program does have that attached where at some point you have to just commit to a time and a sequence and that, because any time you pick is not going to be right for everybody. You'll always have people go, oh, I'd really like to do that at Monday at 11 o'clock, but I actually work full time and blah, blah, blah. So even if you do live delivery, I would suggest that you have some sort of recorded playback component, and just commit to a time that suits you and commit to that, because everything else will fall into place around that. And people, if they really, really want to learn from you, they will make it work. And you just got to give them the tools and the access to help them make it work, if that makes sense. The other thing about active is like, you know, it's definitely relies on you and your efforts, but also your frame of mind. So, you know, to deliver an online course, like, you know, like a live course, sorry, you have to be like on at the time, no matter what. Like I couldn't turn up today, you know, with a big frowny face and be like, oh, this is it. You know, I've mentioned that I've had some challenges this morning, but I'm not turning up going, oh, well, I don't really feel like doing this, but let's give it a go. Like you, oh my goodness, you would never do that, and you just can't. So you do have to be professional about it, and it depends on what you're doing. Like if it was a group where you're all kind of struggling with something and you're going about it together, that probably is the environment you can do that. But otherwise, no, you can't. You must be there. And so with active delivery as well, you also have to have a backup. So the backup being, if you are literally on your deathbed, you know, with the worst flu in the world, or you've hurt your back or broken your foot or whatever it is, who's your backup? Like who's your backup for live delivery? So make sure you have a backup. Now, passive, on the other hand, the beautiful dream of a passive evergreen income with courses really turns them more into a product than a service. So active is very much service based, where you have to be there to deliver everything live, and it doesn't have to be all live, it can be just partially live. Passive is very much, look, we've created this learning set and it is there available for you to access and follow. So you just need to kind of create it and offer it and be there to just answer any follow-up questions and that sort of thing. I've actually, I myself am more of a fan of live delivery, and live workshops and even face-to-face workshops are my preference, simply because I do see that people learn better. But definitely with the passive, I've learned, especially in the last few years, people want the passive. Like people want to manage their day with all the obligations we have in modern life. They just want to be able to get through their day and absolutely choose exactly when they are going to do their learning. And for some people, that could be 4 in the morning, or for some people, that could be, you know, breaking up, pausing that 1 hour lesson and seeing it over the course of a week because that's too much for them. So there is definitely this kind of empowerment you give your students if you do allow it to be completely evergreen, passive kind of access, like like no human touch access. They actually quite a lot of people actually prefer that now, strangely. But but you still need to manage it. You know what I mean? Like the other thing with Evergreen is you have to choose your topics and your lesson content very well to really be truly evergreen. So evergreen is this term we use for it never ages. It's always going to be relevant. But of course, we know that's not always true. Like you could do a sequence on how to use LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's like it's been around for a long time. It's pretty predictable. You could go through all different ways, but LinkedIn eventually is going to update LinkedIn. Like it does go through some updates and changes, and we've added this here, and now you can do a video intro and blah 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 blah. So how you manage that is I like to try and keep any references to current things, like things that are trendy or things that are going to go in and out. Try to minimize any references to that, and then you can always do little addendums. So you can do little extra bonus lessons where you talk about a particular new feature. So a new feature comes out, and all you do is do a separate lesson on that, throw it into the existing course, and then you don't have to redo the whole thing. Yeah. All right. So whichever way you're doing, talking about it, like we're definitely looking at probably more the passive style, but just remember, whichever way you do it, the design, the instructional design model still comes into it, which is whatever lessons you create, you've got to really keep your focus on what we were saying in the beginning with AI, which is you need to take people through this sequence of learning of how do I get them from point A, their beginning knowledge, to point Z, what I need them to figure out and learn by the end, and do it with the least friction and the most entertaining and useful way possible. Like people prefer practical learning, right? So I talk a lot in these webinars because they're a webinar. But in courses, like my goal is always to have a short lesson, probably 10 to 15 minutes max, and every lesson has an activity. So every lesson I have one point to make to teach them one thing, which stacks onto the last thing I showed them, and then I give them something practical to go and do to cement that learning. Okay, and you may have a course that's like that, or you may simply be saying, you may simply be saying, we just want a series of videos because that's all they need, and maybe they're all demonstrations. So maybe you're showing them Facebook ads, and really you just need to show them the program, something like that. Okay, so I've shown this many times, so I'm not gonna go through this in detail, but just to say to remember that don't get caught up in AI and telling too much. Make sure you focus back on a good, solid plan for your lessons. And then we look at where you're going to create it. Now, the reason I'm showing the platforms again today is because where you host it will affect the type of lesson you can do. Some platforms allow you to do quizzes, surveys, polls, activity sheets, templates, interactive documents, interactive canvases, all this kind of stuff. Some of them do, whereas a lot of them don't. Most of them are expecting you to do the style of, here's a video lesson, here's a downloadable, or here's maybe a link to something. Like that's kind of the basics. So if you always keep your course in that parameter of video, downloadable, link, you can pretty much put it wherever you like. As soon as you start to spread past that into more interactive stuff, you're going to have to really choose your platform and have a look at what you can do before you start designing the lessons, because it will, knowing that you can have little like competitive something or other where people can earn a badge against other students or whatever, like that will affect like you to come back to your course map and go, oh, this actually might be really good over here where they're supposed to come up with some innovative idea for something. I can make them like post it in the forum and something, right? So where you put it will give you variable options on what your lessons can be. That's the point. And some of them, I think mastermind.com is still going. Mastermind.com is an example. I think that was a Tony Robbins supported one. They gave you the ability to just record your lesson directly into the platform. So the idea of being like, just make it as easy as possible. And of course, what happens when you make course creation super duper duper easy, you end up with a lot of fodder. Like you end up with a lot of people just making up stuff and posting it as a course, and then you've got to compete with that when you're trying to do your own like really experience-based course. So that also affects where you post. All right, so let's look at the types of content. So this is where we're really talking about where, like, what we can actually make. Now, when we are talking about talking head videos, so talking head videos is number one. Number one is a talking head video, and how you can do that is like I'm doing now on Zoom, no screen capture, but really a talking head video pure, you would just be doing this on your smartphone. And I'd highly suggest if you're going to do a talking video on your smartphone, get yourself a tripod or something to, like, probably you're going to get like a ring light. We have, show you. This is what a ring light looks like. It's a circle light, and in the middle is actually a tripod holder to hold your smartphone. You can get these from most stores for like $30, $40. If you go to a proper tech AV store, you're probably looking at more like $100 and something. So just be smart. It's not a high spec tech. Like, you're literally talking about LED lights in a plastic circle with a stretchy arm with a screw on the end. I mean, this is not, this is not new stuff. Okay, so you don't need to get an expensive one. But I will say, if you get a cheap one, if you decide to move it around and transport it, that's when you're going to have to take a lot of care and attention. So one of the screws broke on mine that hold the light, and it was simply because I in my, I don't know, thoughtlessness, I just loaded it in the car. I was going somewhere, I just loaded it in the car. I think I was going to go help someone record their lesson, threw it in the car. And then, of course, it's not really made to have this big round thing on a little tiny stick. So it's like moving about, and, I cracked it. So just, it has like you saw that one has a carry bag. You can get ones that make lots of different colors. But ultimately, just some sort of tripod to hold your smartphone. And the reason I suggest get one that's got a ring light is because having good light changes it. So if I've got a ring light on, which you also put on, but if I show you, if I just turn this off, like, see the difference? It just looks like I'm at home now. Whereas if I have the ring light, it just is a little bit more stage studio. This one particularly circles through 3 types. So you've got a white light, a yellow light, and then a really orange one. And for some reason I like the orange one. I don't know. I think I just like orange in general. But the other one I have goes through red, green, blue, all the other colors. So like if I was doing like a YouTube video or a lesson that was like, I don't know, alien invasion, green would be great. So let's move on. So number one is smartphone. You literally have have a camera. The only other addition you might have is you might get a lapel mic. So a lapel mic is that little mic you see that clips onto a shirt. And the reason I say this kind of mic is it's really incognito. Like, it doesn't call a lot of attention, and you can just plug it straight into the bottom of your phone, and it'll just give you that extra bit of crispness. So if you're in a room that has a lot of echo, I'd really suggest maybe getting that extra mic. I will say that I'm a little bit anti the whole boom mic on camera. Like, if you're a podcaster and you want to record yourself podcasting, so you want the big earphones and the massive Yeti mic in front of you, go hard, like, no problem. But if you're doing a course and you're recording a lesson for a course, like, it is a video. And if you learn anything from film and TV, like, how often do you see a movie and the boom mic is actually in scene? Like, never, because they're not meant to be seen. Right? Microphones are not meant to be seen. So put it off to the side of the camera. So just over here, directing to you. It'll get all your sound without you having to be like here waiting for your sound check. Okay, just keep it off. So smartphone video is number one. Now the second one, also using your smartphone, is a voice lesson. Now, if you are doing something that is anything to do with the mind, mental exercises, personal fulfillment, personal development, there's a good chance that these are the kinds of lessons that people actually really enjoy doing when they're traveling, when they're out and about, when they're walking, when they're running, when they're in motion. And when we're in motion, we don't really want to watch something, we just want to listen to something. So quite often with mine, I'll say that I record all my lessons in Zoom because I'm just so used to Zoom. But if I wanted to, I absolutely could download the audio file because Zoom automatically does the audio file as well. And I could just upload that as the lesson. So you have to choose carefully. You can't do an audio lesson if it is something that requires a visual prop. Just say that right now. Doesn't make sense. So you can't say, imagine I'm holding this thing and now I'm turning it. Like, you can see how ridiculous that gets. So that's why I say there are certain topics where people are just listening and reflecting and maybe talking back, or, doing like some sort of verbal or personal exercise. Totally fine. So that's number two. Number one is a talking head, pure talking head, no other tech required. Number two is voice only, which again, you have a dedicated voice recorder on most phones, and it is really quite good. Um, from there, either video or voice, you can always upload your recordings into a program to transcribe them. So if you still want a text accompaniment, or if you want a transcription or whatever, that you can. Your phone necessarily doesn't do that, but there are programs to do it. I must admit, I've got a Samsung, and my voice recorder does do up to 10 minutes of speech to text while I'm recording. And I'm going to say I did that many, many times, and the output is, what's the word? Hilarious. So I wouldn't necessarily trust it. And it also limits your time. So at the 10-minute mark, I found it just cut out, and I was like, well, I'm going to have to open another one now because I talk too much. All right. So number three, let's talk about, let's see, let's look at PowerPoint-based recording lessons. So when you're doing a lesson like mine, like I do business lessons, right? So it makes sense for me to use slideshows where I'm showing diagrams and I'm showing lists, and potentially I'm going to go on my computer and do a demonstration. So it makes sense for me to use slideshows. You do have to be careful with slideshows because there is literally a term that's called death by PowerPoint. And it's a long-standing term where people literally just talk at you, reading off a PowerPoint. It's boring as all crap, and you do get over it. So I'm really conscious of that. Like, sometimes if I watch back my recording and I found that I'm relying too much on PowerPoint, or if it's not interactive enough, I kind of slap in the back of my hand and go, oh, Bronwyn, you can do better than that. Like, don't do that. Because I never want to be boring. But at the same time, you do get kind of in a habit. So if you're making a course that's many, many lessons, and you are using PowerPoint or a slideshow, you do have to be aware that, just try and break it up a little bit if you can. Like, if that's your first version, go for it. If it means you get it done out into the world and ready for market, and that's your comfort level, do that. But then later, I would encourage you to come back and maybe see if any of those lessons could be varied. And what I mean by varied is maybe it could be a flip chart behind you, a whiteboard behind you, more of a demonstration. Maybe instead of talking about Facebook ads, you actually take them into the back of Facebook, Meta Ad Manager, and show them what to do. Instead of asking them questions, posing questions in your lesson, maybe just actually give them a quiz. So you can make multiple iterations of your course. Don't feel like paralyzed by perfection to wanting to do everything perfect the first time. You're absolutely and this happens all over the place, right? So my website, I'm never happy with my website. I'm always changing it. Every time I think, oh, that looks great. And then a month later, I'll come back and I go, oh, I could have made that better. You're going to do the same thing with your course. You're going to come back and go, oh, now that I know more, or now that I've seen someone else's or got this other idea, and it's this kind of theory of expansive thinking. So when we think about something the first time, our brain only makes those immediate connections of information around it and sort of goes, oh yeah, this is logical, I should do this. And then once it's had time to marinate on that, it expands out to another layer of thinking, and you start making more connections and going, oh, actually, I could do this as well. So to give you an example, I did a keynote last week at a marketing summit, and it was supposed to be the future of B2B marketing. And I took over this topic from another lady who had stepped out, and she did marketing at like Westfield and all these big brands. And here I come in my little small business head and go, right, how can I connect these two? So I talked about, historically, like the trends of Westfield and all these brands. And my first level of thinking was, okay, I'm just going to talk about the history of these big brands that were already promoted leading up to this event. And then I'll talk about, based on that, an AI, like what I think what I think the future will be. And what happened was, because I was able to sit on it just a few days before I sent it, which I like to do for workshops and all sorts of things, it allowed me to kind of reflect and go, you know what, I'm missing something here. And I had 2 more iterations on that one workshop, PowerPoint, whatever you want to say. The first one was that I realized that I hadn't really talked about the environment of business, talking about, the environmental social goals and advanced manufacturing, all these things that really matter to business in our area, because it was a Brisbane-based event. So I came back and put that in, like, I really need to talk about that, not just AI, which people are probably sick of anyway. And then later I looked at my slides. I'm like, these are really boring slides. Like when I do talks, I quite like public talks, I quite like to bring in like pop culture references. So I changed a bunch of slides to be like Back to the Future and Terminator, which is very fitting. And end on a bit of a joke. So that was another layer. So with your lessons, take your time, but absolutely whatever is the easiest way for you to capture your lesson, just do that. And if slideshow is the way to do it, just know that slideshow is good reference material, but it doesn't make a lot of variation if you do a really large course. Circling back to my point. Okay, so if I just escape out of my big view, now, can you guys all see my PowerPoint? Yeah, so if I'm looking at the PowerPoint world here, so this is Microsoft PowerPoint. You will, generally speaking, I prefer Microsoft because that's what I've just had to use in corporate and et cetera, over many years. So I've kind of just, that's where I am. If you have Mac does have a version of this. And if you have Google, you're using Google Slides, and Google tends to emulate a lot of what Microsoft does anyway. So if I show you something in Microsoft PowerPoint, generally speaking, you're going to be able to find it in Google Slides. So what I'm looking at here is a couple of things. So a couple of things that people don't realize are in PowerPoint for making your slides is, first one is Dictate. So Dictate allows you to actually do speech to text within the Microsoft Office suite, and it's in PowerPoint as well. So if you find that you're much easier to talk through your thoughts and get your slides built, this will be a great speed up for you. The second thing is this designer tab, which is kind of like an AI thing. And what it does is it'll take this really boring slide I've made and it'll say, hey, we could work on that. Sorry, I can't find my mouse. Let's have a look. Sorry. I'll find my mouse. There we go. Ooh, trying to find my slide bar. If I come down, no, my mouse has disappeared. This is really annoying. Yep, no, no. There we go. Like a ghost mouse. All right, so it shows me lots of ways. So I could present this in like a circle, maybe some lines. I can go over to more design ideas. And if I insert an image, so it also allows you to go insert picture from online, and it'll connect with, I think it's Unsplash or Pixabay or something like that. And then you can use that as your base, and it'll start making a design around that. But what I really want to show you is, let's see if I can get my mouse on it. There we go, record. So recording literally allows you to record your voice over your slideshow in PowerPoint, and Cameo is new. I'm pretty sure Cameo allows you to select where you want your little video, and it will see down there, little preview. So it gives you a little bit of a preview like Loom does, like Zoom does, and allow you to put your little headshot in there. But if I come back to record, here we go. You can say, I want to record from the beginning. I want to record just this current slide, and then you can export it to video. Now, I've done this a few times over the years, and I find that recording I mean, with the Cameo, if you put the video in it, this is gonna change what I'm about to say. But if it's just voice over your slides, it's actually a lot smaller file. So you end up with an MP4 file where it's like a video because it is showing visuals and it is sliding through and it does have the voiceover. But this is absolutely number 3, is using your PowerPoint record to just do the voiceover. And I've been in courses from other people where they've literally just used this. And the great thing about this is, you know, we often don't like to be on camera. Like I had to do my hair today. You know what I mean? Like, oh man. So, you know, I'm often just up here with a ponytail in my Ugg boots or jeans, just getting work done, right? I'm a very practical person. But when I do a recording or when I do camera, obviously I want to look a little bit nicer than that because it's captured forever. And so I do bring in that element. But honestly, I know over the years, if I had just done the voiceover on some, I would have made my courses probably twice as fast because I wouldn't have this other consideration of, okay, is this a good day to record? How do I look? What am I doing? Do I have time? Literally just slide up, press voice, let's go. I've got 10 minutes spare. Let's just do this 10-minute lesson. You'll get through it a lot faster. Okay, so that's PowerPoint. Now, I've opened up a lot. Let's get out of this. So the next one really to talk through is Zoom. So let me see. I feel like Zoom is a bit of a natural thing to talk about and something I don't really need to demonstrate because you're literally in it right now. So my Zoom menu, because I'm the host, looks slightly different to yours. So I can't really show it to you as a screen share. But know this, I can absolutely change my virtual background. So if I go to video in Zoom, I could blur my background, which looks really interesting. A lot of people do that. So it's like, oh, I'm in my office, but yeah, I don't like it. You can put in a virtual background. So, and you can also choose your virtual background to be your slideshow. So I've done videos, like short videos for like chamber or whatever, where I actually put the slides behind me. My hands look so small. I put the slides behind me and just gonna unblur because it's freaking me out. And I just make sure I'm sitting like to the side and I put all the text to the other side or all the diagrams or whatever. So you get this great little effect where your slideshow is here and you're absolutely full frame. And the best thing you can do with this is actually stand up. So if you pull your camera back, you're going to need like a clicker. I think I have one here actually. So what I mean by a clicker is one of these little doobie whackers. You can see that in my light. Ooh. So it goes forward, backwards, freeze frame, all the rest. And a lot of presenters have these, but even a wireless mouse will do the same. So if you've got a wireless keyboard mouse, sorry, not keyboard mouse, wireless mouse, you know, to click through your slides, you just have to have that next to you, or I've had it in my pocket before, like it's this kind of moderately sized mouse in my pocket under my hand going click, click, click as I go through the slides. And I'm standing, you know, pretty much knees to head. And it's a weirdness, but looking at that film, we find ourselves so much more engaged with like a whole person than we are like a face like this. Like I find when ads come up on my social media where someone is like right in their camera talking to me, I almost like pull the phone back, like it's like you're in my personal space even though I'm looking at a video. So Zoom is great for that. Zoom allows you to share your screen. You can move through multiple screens. It allows you to put it as a virtual background. It allows you to connect your smartphone and screen share from your phone in the same session. It allows you to have your video inset. I will say that if you wanted to convert a sharing video like this into a social media share, I wouldn't use Zoom's default settings. I'd either go back to PowerPoint and use that inset, or I'd switch over to Loom. I haven't really, or you do the virtual background on your slides, because what happens is my video, and you're probably seeing this on your screen, my video is to the side of my screen share. And that makes it a weird frame when you go to put it in like a sharing video. Like in a replay, it's fine and all this kind of stuff, but I've tried it, and a great way to get clips from a video is a program called Opus Clips, OPUS Clip. That's probably top of market at the moment because it'll take, if you want to do like little teasers from your video lessons, throw your video lesson into Opus Clip. It will use AI to choose the best little tiny snippet, and it looks at the wording, it transcribes the wording and looks for keywords and looks to optimize it on social media as well. So it does all of that to choose the clip, and I find the clips are pretty much ready to go. But when I use when I do it from you'll see this, I'll probably put some up soon just for the hell of it. But when it tries to do a Zoom, screen share with my little video on the side, it makes my video really blurry because it's tiny. It tries to enlarge it, and then my screen share is like half. It just doesn't work very well. So I suggest to you that I would choose video lessons where it is a talking head or a complete slideshow, or your video of your face is inset to the slide window if you're thinking about forward thinking into making clips and things out of it. All right, so that's Zoom. Zoom is great. Zoom allows you to also, you can also, if you're doing like a one-off, there are options for Zoom to actually take registrations and payment through Zoom. You can say who comes in, who comes out. You can, as you probably already noticed, I'm using the Zoom recording as the playback for most of it. So today's probably going to be the first one where I'm actually going to load it into YouTube as a private link and then send you guys the link. But mostly I've been using Zoom playback. So Zoom does get full. It does have a maximum gigabyte storage. So you couldn't really host your whole course in there before it starts to get quite expensive. It's not really meant for that. But it is meant for, hey, you did a webinar, you did a meeting, and you might want to make that available to people afterwards. So here's the link, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So for instance, I'm only offering these playbacks for about a month, and then I have to kind of sweep it out. Otherwise, like today, it messaged me and goes, we're cutting you off. So that's Zoom. Now, Loom is another one that's very, very similar. Let me see if I can stop sharing. Oh, there's my mouse. It's back. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and I'm just going to open up a page with Looms to show you what it looks like. We're going for time, 11:20. All right. Okay, so this is Loom. Loom is very similar. It allows you to do for free, but we're talking about like 5 minutes. Yeah, it's not really something you can do for courses. You'd have to pay for it, but it does have a few more options. And if you were going to do, if you're going to do lessons over social media, then Loom kind of has a great optimization for that. All right, now another one I'm going to show you briefly is Restream. So say you take these great videos and you want to run your lesson through a Facebook group. So this is number 4. Is it number 4 or number 5? Restream, there are other ones like it, like StreamYard and what's the other one, like OpenStream or something. But StreamYard is great for Facebook. Restream is great for many, many places. Restream gives you the availability to record and then release the recording like a live video. So Facebook Live is another type of lesson you can do. And when you do a Facebook Live inside a group, it allows you to keep that recording in the group. So so this is the kind of style you might do as a membership. You might have a free Facebook group to attract, then you might have a private Facebook group on a subscription for members only. It's a very, very cheap way to do it. And then you can just either literally pick up your phone, do a Facebook Live for little quick alerts. But otherwise, I'd probably advise something like Restream to put that video into the group. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Facebook group courses, like using it as a membership. And does anybody want to type in the chat what that reason might be? If anybody's been on some sessions with me, why would I say maybe having all your content and all your members in Facebook could be a bad idea? Like it's good as short term. So if you're going to do like a 5-day challenge, if you're going to do or like a 2-week challenge, Facebook group with Facebook Lives and posting all the stuff in there is a really simple, great free way. And thank you, Mish, you're onto it. You don't own the content. I don't own the contacts. I don't own the group. I don't own anything in Facebook. So if you're doing a short stint, I think a Facebook group is a super easy way to have a sort of membership course. Let's go. Mostly those courses are probably going to be teasers into bigger paid things on other purposefully used platforms like Thinkific or wherever you are. But it's a great tool and it's kind of free. Like, why wouldn't you? Restream, although is not free, it does give you the ability to go, okay, I'm really satisfied with that lesson. Now I can put it in the group. Whereas Facebook Live, I mean, you know, doing live recordings, things happen. I won't lie. Okay, so we've done talking head, we've done PowerPoint voiceover, we've done Zoom, we've done a voice recorder on the phone, we've done Restream in your Facebook groups and Facebook Live. You can also do it in Canva. So let me go have a look at Canva. Hopefully it's, well, I'm just going to smash it for a moment because I think that's going to, I think it's in my actual account. Let's just go home before I show everything. Okay, because I always have Canva open pretty much. I'm terrible. There's a lot of things I always have open, to be fair. Okay, so so you see this video at the top, actually, it says watch Canva create. I'd really suggest if you're using Canva, go watch that. It's talking about all the new additions, add-ons, releases that Canva have done literally in May, like in the last few weeks. So I'd really suggest you go watch that. It's about an hour and a half. So it's not short, but it'll be useful. So when you come into Canva, you actually have a presentations section, okay? And in presentations, you can absolutely choose a mobile style, 4:3, 16:9. There's all sorts of different types you can make. So you can make your slideshow in Canva, and just like PowerPoint, you can record in Canva. So that's another one you can do. Very, very similar. The other thing it can do is if you go to Magic Studio, which I'm assuming is Pro only, and I'm a big advocate for getting Pro, but you can do Magic Design for presentations. So if we go over to Magic Design, let's try Magic Design. So you can make your lesson here and record it, and there's a couple of things you can do. So use 5 words to describe your lesson. Lesson on Qigong practice. How's my typing? Let's see. Oh no, it's just doing templates. There is another, where is Magic Create? Okay. Search bar on the left. Yes. A pitch for this. Press enter. Yes. Click on the first presentation under Magic Design. Okay, maybe it's still thinking. I'm pretty sure I've done this before. I'm pretty sure this is where it is. So I'm a little bit like, is it doing it? Probably because I got Zoom and camera and everything going. My internet's probably like, a bit slow. So what it's going to do, and this is, so there are other programs that will do this. So Gamma is another one. Tome, T-O-M-E, Beautiful.ai. There's a few that will automatically create a slideshow, and I usually find they will do about 7 slides. So between 5 and 7 slides. I haven't seen them go much past that. So when you're doing AI slide creation, this is still thinking. Here we go. So here's the, just come up. I was just about to abandon you, Canva. Excuse me. So here we go. Explore Qigong. Is it Qigong? It's Qigong, yeah. Introduction to Qigong, explore Qigong, beginner's guide to Qigong. Now, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, oh, 8. So you'll actually find these are slightly different in the information they present. And by changing the prompt you put in, it will change it a little bit. So if you said Qigong for beginners or Qigong, daily Qigong practice or whatever it might be. So if I just pick one, not the one with staplers, maybe we'll pick the one with over here. Okay, so it's got fundamental principles, exploring the power of Qigong, Qigong mastery, introduction, and then an assignment at the end, yeah? Uh, yeah. So it's made a little suggestion like, how can you improve your energy levels overall, explore the benefits and share insights. So these are base slides at best. Yeah. But again, you know, if we have a look, like they're not terrible. Like if I flick through, get my Canva up, my Zoom out of the way. Yeah, and then just going through a little bit like what it does. Okay, just cute little lesson. So what I suggest to you, if you wanted to do this kind of thing, you know, AI based doing it, I would do it somewhere like Canva, or you drag your presentation into PowerPoint and record it there, or into Zoom, record it there. There is this present button. So present full screen, present and record, autoplay while you present it, okay? So you can literally present and record at the same time in Canva as well, okay? And there is a note section. Let me see. I don't know if I'm going to see it here, but just like PowerPoint, Canva also has like a little, I've forgotten where to bring it up, but you can actually type notes for each slide as well, yeah? So just like PowerPoint, you can give yourself a little bit of a, hey, let's look at this. All right. Now, let's look at some more tricky stuff now. So let's look at Synthesia. So Synthesia is, I realize we're getting into the end of our time too. Synthesia is where you can actually create studio quality AI video from text. You choose an avatar, you say, this is my script, and it will talk through it as a talking head. So if you decided that you didn't want your face on it, and talking head is very comfortable, and you can edit talking head, say in DaVinci Blackmagic Resolve or CapCut or Adobe Premiere Pro AutoPod. All these ones will allow you to have, say, a talking head video and then splice in what's called a B-roll, where you might like overlay them with a slide every once in a while, you know, say, oh, she's talking about this part of the script now, let's show that slide, and it'll overlay her and then, or him, then come back out. So those will allow you to cut those in. Other programs that will do it is, I think Descript also has a B-roll, or you use a program like InVideo, or Vidnami, where you will actually load up your video and then say, you know, make a video from this, where it'll maybe put in stock images, stock video, stock photo about what you're talking about. So there's a lot of programs you can use. So if you wanted to do this kind of talking head lesson where you maybe have some stuff, but you don't want to be the person on it, which could be for any kind of reasons. It could be anonymity. It could be that you've built a whole AI avatar for your whole scope of work. So you have an AI avatar on your YouTube channel because they are just more alluring to the topic, or they look more like you know, a practitioner, or you know what I mean. Like sometimes we have the most amazing brains in the world, and they don't come in a perfect package. And branding is so important that we may choose to project a different brand. So, for instance, in our cybersecurity firm, we prefer to use like a little robot face because it's just so much interesting and more fun to have a little robot telling you how to be better at cybersecurity than some boring person. You know what I mean? So avatars can extend past people, but Synthesia definitely does sort of provide more people faces. Now another one, if you wanted to have yourself, because I find Synthesia, I think it will let you load up your own avatar, but I really struggled with that. HeyGen is another one. Uh, so HeyGen allows you to basically clone yourself. And so if you get to a point where you're doing like prolific course creation, you could use HeyGen to clone yourself, load up the script, do the video, and then manipulate that video into, you know, a B-roll or a demo or whatever you need as well. So you look at how realistic this is. They're just so realistic. It's crazy. They're really very, very good. And And once you get used to looking at these things, you'll notice, you will literally notice like how much you see them online now. So you'll notice, like, you watch a video on YouTube or whatever, and you'll look at the way the mouth is moving and the way the body is not hugely animated, and you'll be like, I think that's an AI. I think that's an avatar. The most interesting one I saw was, obviously, this guy clearly wasn't super comfortable with his appearance. So he was a tech guy. And so he did this AI that was like a version of himself that was like skinnier and more handsome. And then like the way he looked was fine, and especially fine for his profession. Like, he wasn't a model, and I think this is the challenge in this kind of zone. Like, I'm a big advocate for, like, just be yourself, just do you. But obviously, if being you is a out of your comfort zone for some reason, you got options, weirdly. So yeah, whatever you want to do, really, the world is your oyster. All right, I'm gonna I'm gonna take it down a notch, and I'm gonna have a look at something else. So um, the other thing with lessons is you don't have to have video and you don't have to have audio. You actually could just have um, text. So another way, how do I do this? Okay, so with text, you can actually do an email sequence. So how would I do this? All right. So say you've got something like ActiveCampaign. Yeah. ActiveCampaign, like MailChimp, like Systemi, like HubSpot, they're kind of a marketing automation tool. And within a marketing automation tool, you have email sequences, and you can literally lean on your automated email responders to create a course. So what you would do with this is you would literally say the course is not hosted anywhere. It's not on a Thinkific or a Podia or a LearnWorlds. It's literally super easy, where you want to learn a sequence of lessons and you want it to be easy and you want it to be tracked. Well, guess what? I'm going to do it through email, and I'm going to send you an email every day with an affirmation and a task you need to complete. And so you just have to go into your normal email and read it and do it. Now, it seems a little bit, and this is just an example of a program that would do it, but if you already have a customer relationship management program, like a CRM with an email, or a marketing automation program with emails, or you're just using MailChimp, I believe even in MailChimp, you would have to have a paid version. So most of this is going to be paid. But what I'm saying is, if you already have the paid version of an email sequence program, automated email program, you can set up your lessons this way. So literally you receive a lesson. Now, if you wanted to combine video or audio with an email sending lesson, all you need to do is host that audio or video somewhere. So YouTube private link is a way to do it. But to protect your content a bit more, you might want to go to something like Vimeo, Vimeo. So Vimeo has traditionally been the alternative to YouTube if you wanted to do like lesson hosting, just the video component. And it just allows you to have a bit more control over what they can click on, what they can do with the video, and who can see it. Again, it is paid. So, but if you were going to do this quite a lot, that would be another version of that. Okay. So with the email sequence, obviously you just have to choose your lesson type well. If it is a lesson that requires a lot of visual demonstration, email's not going to be your speed. But if it was just like lessons in positivity, or if it was literally like a task within like a computer program, where it's like, hey, you're going to follow these steps today, go do this. Or you can also do visuals. So even those emails, you can have a picture and text, and you can do it that way. All right, I'm going to show you one more. Let me think. Maybe Coursera. So Coursera, like many AI course builders, will allow you to, like we did in Canva, put in a prompt, have a few lessons come up and things like that. But some of them also have like a catalog. So I think Coursera is one of them. Hopefully I'm not getting my brain mixed up. Coursera is one of them that allows you to kind of search through ones that have already been done. I don't know where they come from. I don't know if it's Coursera itself or if you have to, when you make a course, you're like that you will elect whether you allow people to use and share it. But there's lots of great little courses on here, and it allows you to share. Hang on, I'm just going to make sure I'm not getting mixed up with this. Course box, course generator. Trying to think. They all sound the same to me after a while. So I'm just trying to remember if Coursera is the AI one or whether I'm getting it mixed up. Let's have a look at Easy Generator definitely is one. So let's have a quick look at that one. Just before and CourseBox is another one too. So this is where you can like you can build an AI course. You can include a bit of video. You can include some lessons. But the lessons, again, this is an easy way to create your lessons, like I showed you in the text to video in Canva. But you've got to go through and look at what you've loaded up, okay? And like I said in the AI one and the platform one, if you build it in AI, if you build it in a known AI platform and it's hosted for sale in a known AI platform, just be very cautious that people may devalue it a little bit, okay? What else is there? Are there any types of recordings that people would like to know more about? Are there any that I haven't shared? Oh, cartoon explainers. Yes, I have forgotten. Let me go back again. Okay, so cartoon explainers are great, and they're really for like short videos. I wouldn't suggest trying to make a 20-minute video explainer with cartoons, because honestly, it takes you 20 minutes to talk on a phone or a Zoom. It's going to take you like 3 hours to make a animated 20-minute, but it's highly engaging, and it is another way to present content that's highly engaging and very entertaining. So what are the front runners? You've got Doodly, which I don't know if they've renamed themselves, but Doodly is one. You've got Animaker is another one, and you've got Create Studio, I think, is the newer one that seems to imply it's. Sorry, let me show you Doodly first. Before I get ahead of myself. Come on, Doodly. So I bought Doodly at the 67 lifetime, but I can show you if they should have some examples here that lets you. Okay, here's I think some examples. Comes up. Okay, so these are the kinds of videos where you can see the hand drawing over the picture as the video plays, and it's captivating. It's mesmerizing to just watch this hand pen over this, video sequence. Now you can do like a black and white with a splash of color. Sorry, it's trying to automatically do it. And I'll show you. I don't know what video it's just selected for me then. Hang on. Just pause that. Stop YouTube. Okay. So this was a video I used to show in classes all the time. And I know I'm going to have to optimize that for sound. Sorry, I don't think I'm sharing sound. Okay. So this one here. So this one here is an explainer. It's only a few minutes long. It's a Doodly animation. It has had 10 million views because it captures the essence of the Stephen Covey book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And if I show it to you very briefly, I'll just skip through it.
All because of the government. These uneducated pigs didn't know how to control prices. And when I was privileged, focuses on how can I improve my product so my customers can't live without it. Do you realize how much responsibility, how much dedication, how much hard work comes along with asking that question? Most
So
every one of us will have to readjust how we live when we ask this question.
get the idea. So you're not really judging it based on what this person looks like, but because it's like showing the diagrams and that as he talks, you're following along really well. It's only about 8 minutes, I think, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And so this would have taken a bit of time to put together, but those programs like Animaker, Doodly, Create Studio, they will make them, and that's another way you can make your videos. All right, we're going to have to finish up very soon. I'm conscious of your time. Whiteboards and flip charts, I mean, you're basically going to be recording it the same way, but it is a different beast. So if I'm standing back from my camera on a flip chart, the difference between a whiteboard and a flip chart is a flip chart, you want to flip back again and show them something you already did. That's why you use a flip chart. On a whiteboard, it's usually a one board where you're going to progress and show things as you go. That's the difference between whether you're choosing between a flip chart or a whiteboard. And doing those on camera in a lesson, absolutely fabulous. Yeah. I think that's pretty much all of them. I think we've covered all of them. So you've got a bit of AI in there, you've got some text sequences, you've got audio sequences, you've got video sequences, you've got talking head, you've got screen sharing, you've got AI avatars, you've got cartoons. Is there anything that I haven't covered today that people would like to know? Maybe they've seen it and they're not sure how to do it. Or any other kind of lesson recordings that people have come across that they're interested to know about? No? Everybody's good? We'll put it in the chat. I'll move on. But look, just if you're doing the standard talking head, just very, very briefly, just a reminder, you want to make it super quiet, no background noise as much as possible, but you can use programs like Descript. And I think, I'm just trying to think something else that came up the other day that gets rid of background noise, but you can have, just like you can remove backgrounds from images, you can remove backgrounds from videos now using AI programs, and you can remove background noise. So it'll filter out just like a proper AV soundboard would do. But generally you want a zone that's quiet, and you actually want buffering. So you see I've got my bookcase behind me. It's not by accident. This room is full of my office files and work. This is my real office and my real studio. If this was a completely empty room, it would actually reverberate the sound a lot and I'd get more echo. So it actually doesn't help my sound at all. Make sure you have a really good microphone. So I use the microphone on my laptop because I have a HP. It's a very good microphone. My laptop's getting a little bit old now, so I know that my sound is probably more fuzzy compared to newer models, and it's something I might look into. I do have a lapel mic. So my lapel mic, plugging into my current laptop stops my speakers providing me sound. So I don't use my lapel microphone for live webinars, but I do use it for recording lessons. It will give me a crisper sound on my lesson recordings. Obviously, a screen recorder program. So we saw a lot. We saw, you know, PowerPoint expects you just to record the PowerPoint. But if you want to do like I did and go through different places online and things like that, I think Zoom, Loom, Capterra, these are all programs that should be able to do that. Even I think Microsoft, I think if you go, it's like Windows and H or something, Microsoft, because it has Xbox, actually has a huge amount of recording and other tools built into Microsoft operating systems that you don't even know about. So if you just go to Microsoft and Google, or if you Google like Microsoft keyboard shortcuts, you'll come up with a huge list of shortcuts for your Microsoft-based computer, and it will include screen capture. It will include, you know, recording, and it will include a whole bunch of other things that you don't even know are there at your touch. So you may not even need to get another program. If you want a separate camera, so with microphones, I really promote Rode. RODE is probably a really great brand, and it's an Australian brand. They are internationally renowned, so you don't really need to go further than Rode. For webcams and cameras, honestly, if you've got a smartphone that's less than 5 years old, it will do a great job. But if you're looking at doing screen sharing on your computer, you need to just do some testing out on the camera that was included with your computer and see what it's like. If it's kind of grainy and fuzzy and that, just ask someone to look at it and go, does this look professional? And if the answer is no, then yes, you're probably going to get either you're going to upgrade your laptop, but that's more expensive than just going to Officeworks or JB Hi-Fi or any of the AV distributors online and looking for a camera. Generally speaking, I'm just going off my memory here. You're going to have a different frame rates. You actually don't really want one with the highest frame rate, but even if you do get one with like a 60 frame rate or whatever, you can usually choose an option to have a lower frame rate. And the reason I say that is because it makes a much bigger file that kind of becomes a little bit unmanageable, and you just don't need it. So just a standard frame rate, but you do want really excellent, 4K recording or whatever if you want it. I mean, if you want them to pick out every blemish and curl, then that's up to you. Like, you don't really need super duper. We're not a film studio. Audio and video editing software, I did mention a few. So if you want to, I've mentioned it in previous sessions as well. I do find Descript is great for getting the transcript and reverse editing my videos, getting out all my ums, which have snuck back in somewhere. I was looking back and recording myself the other day, and I was like, oh my goodness, I say a lot these days. I had phased it out, and apparently it's back, so I have to work on that. But luckily there's tech for that, so I can get it to filter out all my recordings. You just get to enjoy it today live. And then lighting. So lighting, I did say, you probably want to look at a ring light is a great option. If you're wearing glasses, you've just got to get it right to have the ring light a little bit off to the side. You don't really want two rings in your glasses while you're recording. It's definitely a little bit off-putting, like you've got some sort of crazy alien eyes. So just put it off to the side where it's going to reflect beside the camera equally. It will pop up. I mean, you naturally turn your head and stuff. People aren't really bothered, but if it's definitely like in shot the whole time, that's very bothering. Okay, so just to remember, no matter where you record your lessons, keep a master copy of everything, and not just because it's good practice to have backups. It's also because you may decide to repurpose content later. So you might decide to grab that content and make clips out of it for promos, or just show your credibility, or you know what I mean? Like if it is a course that ages, um, you know, like throw it back into Descript and change that name of the program, update it, or change the name of the year or whatever you need, and then re-release it. And you can't really do that if it's locked into some course program. Like you always want to keep your own stuff as a master copy somewhere. And I would really suggest build your course, module by module. Like don't, and just start at the beginning. You can absolutely launch and release a course before you've finished recording it. You just need to make sure you're on a very comfortable timeline for recording. So as long as you've got a couple of weeks up your sleeve and you just keep a couple of weeks ahead of whatever they're progressing through, you're pretty fine. I do find over the years, as a bit of a learning tip, people who wait to get the whole thing recorded, the whole thing uploaded, and the whole thing perfect before they launch it, I've seen it a few times where literally the course becomes redundant by the time you've gone to release it. So you definitely want to catch people while the fire's hot. And if you have a ready group who want to do a course, say you're doing a course, who's interested? I'm taking waitlist or early registrations, or expressions of interest, applications, whatever you want to say. Capture the contacts of the people who are like strike while the iron's hot, and then just make sure your course map is solid so that you know the sequence of things you're going to produce, and then just do each one at a time and just get it out. So they call that drip content or staged content, where you're like, hey, you're only going to get a week at a time, and it's just because you need to comprehend and absorb the learning, whatever you want to say. So going into programs, just remember the different types of content you're going to look at always. And that's it from today. I'm sorry we started a little bit late, we went a little bit late. I do tend to go over time. I have no concept of time, clearly. Does anybody have any questions from today and the types of different kinds of lessons you can make? Does anybody have anything they're trying to teach and they're like, I don't know it falls into any of those categories even? Anybody have anything like sports courses or anything like that? because that is probably the other one we didn't touch on, is apps. So you can do like Passion.io, or you could use LiCode and build your own LI code, and you could start building out your own course app and loading up your lessons there. But yeah, there's definitely, I think if you're going from a workbook, a lot of people build a workbook for their course and then they try to convert it to a sequence of a course, like an online course. So if you're going from a workbook where you've made up the whole like step by step of what people do, and then you're trying to convert it to a course, just see where the logical breaks are and where the stacking of learning is. And I would say, I don't think there's any need for you to break up that massive workbook. You could always offer that at the start of the course, but I'd probably just offer the first chapter or the first part for the first week or two, in case you have people cancel out of the course, because you don't want to give them that whole course in the first week if you provide like a 1 week refund guarantee, or just think how those things fit together. So if you need to chunk it up for that reason, I would do it that way, or maybe like a quarter, because it can be overwhelming too to see everything, and you don't always want people jumping ahead. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Hey Liz, already have a subscriber podcast website. Interested in an app as well. What would you recommend? Okay, so you're saying you do a podcast and you have a website attached to the podcast. Is that what you mean? If that's the case, yeah. So, I mean, if you're going to do the app version, so many of the course programs like LearnWorld, Thinkific, I have to go back and check. So some of them have been prompted to start offering an app version. So as far as I'm aware, you would have to have your course in their program as the learning management system, the course content system, and then you would pay like an extra $100 a month to have the app version, as in app is in your phone. So anybody can obviously pick up your browser, pick up your website and look at it in the browser on their phone. So the reason you would have it as an app is more because you want it to interact with the phone more. So maybe you want it to draw on their contacts or their photos or their images or their videos, or their locations or anything like that that comes with a smartphone technology. That's really where putting it into the app goes well, but also to optimize it for the mobile. So if I know that I have, for instance, my neuro change course is that I'm doing, not delivering yet, but that I'm studying, rebrushing up on, like that's web-based, and it just kind of shuffles down, and looking at it in my phone, it does make everything kind of tiny. So the only one I know of that is a dedicated course app is Passion.io. We probably could. It's not something I've looked at recently, actually. So let's just have a really, really quick look. See. Doesn't seem to want to do it. Where's my Google? Here we go. All right, I'll just go. Okay, so Thinkific. Okay, all right, now we're getting into app builders. So Retool is an no-code app builder. Bubble is a no-code app builder. LiCode is an Australian AI-driven no-code app builder. So you've got 6 Passion.io alternatives, top 10 Passion.io alternatives and competitors in 2024. So the reason I'm doing this, Passion.io is about $75 US a month, I think, which is actually not that expensive. Like a lot of the LMS add-ons for apps are like 100. So I don't know if this is going to be any good. Some of them are a bit funny. Yeah. Cloud Academy, maybe. You'd have to go and check them. These don't really look like Passion.io alternatives to me. Who made Passion.io? Someone named Dan something? I can't remember now. But anyway, so this is a course platform in an app format that you can build straight in. So you build it on your desktop and then they find it on their phone. No coding required. Use it just like any other Thinkific or whatever to load up all your stuff. You absolutely can do questionnaires and things. As far as I'm aware, it has a lot of other things. So, for example, say for educators, okay, this is the guy with like 20 something. Dan Harvey built an app. Why not? It's been on my mind. It's been on my mind that we consume everything so much by phone these days, and a lot of courses are the same. I'm sort of on my way to like, okay, on the agenda somewhere in the future, let's build a course platform for small businesses to use with their business that isn't app based, because I think they're all way too expensive. Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Liz. Stick to the website for now. Yeah, it does take extra effort. You do have to kind of switch everything across, and there's extra time and money. Is there any other questions today? Anything else anybody wants to cover? So there's a question on recordings for the 31st of May. Did I send them out? I may not have sent them out yet because it was Friday and then it was a very big weekend. I will check to see if I've sent them. If not, I will send them to you. No problem. Thanks for asking. I feel like I sent one out and maybe not the other. I'll go and check. A couple of years on my to-do list to do right after this. Like the list is here waiting for me. Is there anything else anybody wanted to discuss? Because this is kind of the end of the course sequence. So I think I will say this: if you're in Brisbane, I think it's actually at a wait list now. But we're doing Brisbane City Council. I'm running a how to map and plan your course on Wednesday morning this week at their Nunda Suburban Business Hub. So I was going to ask them last week how registrations are going, and then I went online and saw that it was sold out. So I'm pretty sure it's full. But I'm looking to maybe make this into a course. I always said I would never make a course on how to make a course. It seems a little bit like those people who, show you how to use LinkedIn on LinkedIn. Like, it just seems a little bit weird to me. But I've had so many people ask me, and generally I end up in kind of one-to-one coaching on course creation. So it's probably time for me to kind of capture it in a more purposeful way. But I will say this, group coaching, I'm just on the final stretch of getting all the group coaching registration pages up, because we're starting don't do things small, 6 different group coaching groups starting from this month. And one will be on course creation. So if you're specifically interested in course creation, and the reason I'm doing this is because over the years, like I said before, I have so many people who have started making a course and then they get stuck somewhere there. So they either get stuck on whether they're doing their sequence of lessons right, or they get stuck on perfecting them, or they just get stuck on making it low priority. And the thing is with course creation, if you are doing the online course creation as a passive product style, it only is worth the value when it's up for sale, right? We all agree on that. Like, until it's for sale, it's kind of a project. It's only a product when people can buy it. Same with my group coaching. People email me on Friday, like, you've mentioned group coaching a couple of times. When can I actually book into that? I'm like, I'm getting there. But when you do like group coaching, for example, it's ongoing. I have to make the times right. I have to get everybody into a subscription payment. I have to get Zoom on board. Zoom only lets you do a year at a time. So I'm trying to figure that out, because I've never done anything that long form before, that ongoing before. But what was I getting to? So there is one that's called the Course Creators Collective. That is one of them. It's one of the longer ones. So it's basically an hour and a half. And what we're going to do every week is, like all the other group sessions, we do a little micro learning for maybe like 15 minutes where we go through something just to share knowledge and to share expertise. And there'll probably be some guests come in and, who might specialize in something, be like, this is how you do it. And then for the next half hour, it's Q&A. So what challenges have you guys got? Let's work through them, just like normal coaching. But the Course Creators Collective and the Making Marketing one are extra long. So you get another half hour where you just do stuff. So accountability in the group, and there'll be breakout rooms where, say, if you're working on your structuring, you can go into the structuring room and be with other people who are working on their structuring, and you can just kind of work together on it, doing your own thing, you know, and things like that. Because I think, yeah, it's really hard. Accountability is hard when you're doing it by yourself, and course creation is definitely one of those projects where I find it does slide down the priority list for other work and other, you know, urgent things. So if it interests you to have that kind of accountability in that, yeah, like, feel free. I'll send out more info about the group coaching. I'm not going to go through it now. This isn't a sales pitch. I really just want to talk about courses today, but just to let you know that is coming. So if you want the accountability, it'll be available for you. If there's no other questions for today, I feel like I better finish it. Otherwise, you're all going to be like, I'm hungry and I want lunch, Roman. So remember, my email is info@businessintraining.com.au. Feel free to reach out to me afterwards, and I will check the recordings for you. And if anybody wants, it makes sense to me that I'll probably just send out all 4 of the course recordings today. So if anybody just caught this last one on the tail end, I'm going to send you all 4 just so that you can watch through them if you want to. Okay. All right, guys. That's it. Great to have you on again today. Sorry for my little bit of a late start, but thanks for your patience. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.